Well, ladies and gentlemen, this looks like it is the most transparent administration in US history. And now Doge and Elon Musk have taken it a step forward and said, we might be live streaming going into Fort Knox because there hasn't been an audit done since 1974, an official one. They say they send people down there every few years to look around, but there hasn't been an official audit done of the gold reserves, the US reserves within Fort Knox since 74. And so they're saying, why not just live stream it for the people? You've got Rand Paul, who originally, back during Trump's first administration, said he was going to be given access. It never ended up happening. Ron Paul has wanted it audited for years. If you guys remember back around 2011, 2012, Germany asked for their gold back. It wasn't from Fort Knox. Fort Knox was only the U.S. reserves, but it was from New York and their Federal Reserve, and they returned them. It took like 5 years to return it. They didn't allow the Germans to audit it at all or look. They like let one of them in, and they couldn't even look around the entire place of where all the gold was stored. It takes them 5 years. The Germans get their gold back when they start getting the shipments. It's different gold, and they had to melt it down and recast it. So, I mean, that's not Fort Knox. And listen, we hope all the gold is there. We really do. But there's some issues here. When you're talking about it's been since 1974 and just the transparency from this government, and they're going to say, oh, it's evil. It's better that if all the gold is there, that's what people want. But I mean, this is like important stuff that needs to be done when it comes to trusting the government and trusting where our gold reserves are. And there's a lot of theories on why they haven't fully audited it since 1974. The government's claimed there's no need to waste resources. But when you're talking about that time frame, certainly, and especially what happened with Germany when they demanded their gold back, again, it wasn't Fort Knox, but still, Elon Musk Doge prepares to audit U.S. gold reserves at Fort Knox after urging by Rand Paul. And so apparently what I was hearing was Elon Musk potentially will be live streaming it as well for the general public, which makes total sense rather than sending people down there, even if they are. I mean, if it's Rand Paul, I mean, we're going to trust these people, but still, these are people within the government. You would want to just make it as transparent as possible. This is what I said was going to happen right when Trump, or even before Trump got in, even before Trump was elected. I said, there's going to be an amazing amount of transparency because Musk understands propaganda. He understands how to present these things. Now you've got Polymarket doing Musk's work for him. They're posting everything that they're cutting in terms of the overall budget. Now it's up to like $50 billion. And some of the stuff they're cutting is it's all DEI. It's all stuff that I think most Americans for sure would want it gone. And it's impossible for liberals to try and say, well, this is a bad thing. So their attack has been, well, Musk is doing something so different. He's eroding the Constitution. Well, understand, there has to be something different that's done in order to correct this. And the worst part of this all is that you just know when it comes to any of these audits, when it comes to the U.S. citizens being able to look under the proverbial hood, none of this would be happening. None of this would be cut if Kamala Harris or any Democrat was in power. This is a very select number of things that have come together with Elon Musk and Donald Trump that has enabled it. And look, Elon Musk obviously is very rich. There is a little bit of a conflict when it comes to government contracts with Elon. But I would say, can liberals tell me where is all this money and the favoritism Musk's companies have from this current Trump administration? I really haven't seen any of it. They just say it. They can't actually prove it. But stuff like this is just, it's a win for everyone. Like this thing, it hasn't been audited since 1974. There was questions about it. Ron Paul's had questions. Rand has had a ton of questions. And again, Rand said he was going to go down there back in 2017, 2018 under the first Trump term. And this kind of just goes to show you how Trump's just leveled up so much. All of this stuff we didn't know about when Trump was first in, and it's understandable. I mean, Trump, you're talking about a different Congress. You're talking about just a different structure with where the world was compared to where we are now. Everyone's been saying this, and it really is true. But Trump having those 4 years off in between, it made the United States go more right wing, which has enabled Trump. By the way, you also have Trump getting that break and being able to build new relationships and build himself back up, even though they thought the exact opposite was going to happen because that was coming off of January 6th. It's really crazy how just the rebound that Trump has had. But you have that 4-year period where Biden gets in, and when you've got poor leadership, the public is going to go to the other party. So there was very poor liberal leadership, and some of them will still try and argue that. But I mean, when your approval rating, when you've got 90% of the media on your side, and your approval rating finishes whatever it did at 36, 37%, and obviously the Biden administration became a laughingstock after a certain point where Biden couldn't make public appearances, and it was very obvious. And then it got so bad towards the end, and then Kamala loses, and then the administration, and there were leaks where Biden officials were admitting, yeah, this guy was not doing anything, like legitimately, and obviously he wasn't doing anything. If he was doing something, I think everyone would be more scared. But it just goes to show you that 4-year window in between Trump's first term and second term. It's not corny to say it was better for Trump than serving 2 consecutive terms, way better, because of this new cabinet that he's introduced, because just the country getting more right wing. And if you look at the opinion polls from 2016 versus 2024 on immigration, and by the way, the immigration numbers have to improve with Trump. The deportations do. They really do. And we're concerned about it at this point because they're not reporting on the numbers anymore. And it seems like they don't have the funding and the overall infrastructure right now in place to deport a massive amount of people. And Trump, it's been reported, was very angry about the numbers. So hopefully those numbers get better. I mean, you got to call things out when it's not going well in certain areas. And it does seem like, I wanted to wait and give it time. But it does seem like that's something, and it's still early on in his administration. And by the way, you compare Trump to Obama. I've talked about it multiple times. It's not a correct comparison. The way they counted deportations under Obama was not correct. But I don't have to get into it in this video. This is more about transparency within the government, and imagine they decide to live stream. And this is different stuff. This is transparency we never would have gotten under any Democrat. And let's hope all the gold is there. Because if it's not, Bitcoin will go to well, actually, you know what? Bitcoin would go up if it wasn't, because Bitcoin becomes I'm just joking. But no, we hope the gold is there. It would be not good if it wasn't, obviously, for our economy. But this is stuff that has to happen. I mean, 1974, it's a ton of money. You've got Fort Knox massive reserve have reportedly been valued at $425 billion, according to the New York Post, with the rest of the United States highly sought after metal being stored at the Federal Reserve Bank in New York. I think that's where Germany's gold was stored when they requested it back in 2012. And they're like, can we audit it? Can we see it? And they started getting their bars back, and they're like, wait, these are different bars. And it took them 5 years to even get all of them. They thought it was going to be a quick, thing. But that's why people have this trepidation when it comes to gold in general and where it's stored. And obviously, on top of that, you've got the Fort Knox situation in Kentucky, which has not been audited since 74 fully. There'll be people that go down there and look at the gold and report on it, but they haven't had a full audit. They say it costs too much money and it's a waste of time. That's a lot of years. You want to talk about, what is that, like over 50 years at this point? So this will be very interesting to see what happens. But we hope all the gold is there. Well, yeah, now you've got, they're probably just going to buy a Bitcoin. The gold is all going to be gone, and the Bitcoin strategic reserve is introduced the same exact day. No, I hope all the gold is there, because it would be very bad for the economy if it wasn't. But the overall point of this is the level of transparency we never would have gotten under a Democrat. And I don't even know how. I mean, you see some of their arguments against Trump and Musk, and it's just, well, yeah, we never used to do this. Yeah, right. The government got totally bloated, and there were so many positions that didn't need to be in place. This is what efficiency is. It's eliminating all of those positions, and it's eliminating all of this government waste. There's going to have to be things that are done differently to do that. Because if we keep doing the same exact thing,
there's more to talk about going for the gold.
This wants to autoplay, really. We keep doing the same exact thing. I mean, look what happened during Trump's first administration compared to his second. It's a totally different ballgame this time, and they're trying to swing it. It's not going to work. Trump's approval rating is, I think it's around like 55, 56%. Top experts say it's probably going to be like 65, 70% after the Ukraine war ends, and they're trying to swing that like Trump's in bed with Russia. No, Trump just wants the war over. Even some of the European countries want the war over as well. They're like, we're going to send troops. We want the war done. And Zelensky's getting all butthurt. He's getting angry about it. But the overall point is this is the type of transparency that we wanted. And this is just, this is the new style. It's just like when Trump says, we should all tone down our overall spending on the military, meaning the big three, China, Russia, the United States. This is new thinking. It really is, these proposals. So we'll see what ends up happening when it comes to this. But I think they are going to do a full audit, and they might be live streaming it as well through Doge. And Musk is just really good at this type of stuff because he knows having the transparency through owning X, it's so critical, and it's just a gold mine. He makes so much money off of X as it is, you know, with sharing all of this stuff with the interactions. And on top of that, you get to show the American people that this is what we're doing, and this is what's going on within your government, and this is something that we never would have seen with anyone else. So you get this rare occurrence of Trump and Musk coming together. And, you know, Musk is a very, very rich man, probably going to be a trillionaire relatively soon. You can't 100% trust it. But with Musk, he's got so much to lose. It would be like, to me, a lot of the criticisms of him are very angry Democrats who just do not like Trump. And so if you don't like Trump, you're not going to like Musk, especially considering Musk is so close to Trump at this point, and they can't give Trump credit for anything. I mean, maybe a few Democrats do, but 99% of them, it's just not going to happen. So if you're against Trump, you're against Musk. You have to criticize Musk for everything, and it is what it is. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.